Well, I'm going to have a couple of brief remarks in relation to our new slate of officers, and then after that will be a two-part toast. So, for me, one of the great things about this organization is that I was able to serve with officers who made a lot of my meager responsibilities easy, and there was a degree of responsibility offered and performed that made it a very reliable team to depend on. So I'm very grateful about that. And I would, in my own halting way, like to enumerate them. So Ken, having you as our treasurer was an offer of assistance in an area where I have almost no expertise whatever. As my checkbook would confirm, I can't even get Excel to come up with the right numbers, so I don't know what's going on there. But the idea that you have been our treasurer for so long and have done it so well is a credit to our confidence in you. And I think your manner, your demeanor is well suited to the seriousness of what you do. And yet underneath that bubbles the young boy that I can picture you being. And of course, as a fellow Lafayette graduate, I can imagine how you must have been at college. And it was before the internet, so I think most of that stuff is unsearchable. Right. And coming over here to Bill, there's nothing that I do less well than try to take notes. I'm attributing that lapse to my gentleman C at Lafayette. I actually cannot listen to someone and write it down. One has to stop before the other can start. So the fact that you are a faithful scribe who does such a good job has been very encouraging. And of course, I enjoy the process, being an editor at heart, of you preparing the draft and sending it over to me, and me searching often in vain for something to change. And you've really gotten quite good at it. So I just really appreciate the fact that you can sit there and I can rely on the fact that someone's remembering something that I've already forgotten. So thank you for that. And Cindy, I'm so delighted. I think is well known. I knew you before you came to us, which makes sense because that's why I nominated you. And I just I long had a sense. I didn't connect the dots of you and being in charge of our organizational visitation, but it is such an obvious fit. You have a degree of initiative and a degree of clear thinking and really kind of target fixation on what's important. And you have an enthusiasm that is completely infectious. And I think one of the things that's important, I think we have become a board of self-starters. That's another thing I love about the board. We seem to have all individually in our own way decided to get involved in the organizations we visit. It doesn't feel like an assignment that has drudgery attached to it. I think it has, because of the relationships, it has a connection with the heart, each of us, with the people we visit. So it's kind of self-executing in that way. But I think having Cindy as our vice president and head of that part of our operation will provide an amiable, non-demanding but somewhat insistent encouragement to do what you need to be doing. And I think that's just, we all need a kind of kick in the pants sometimes, and I can't imagine someone doing it with more grace than you. And Bob.
Uh-oh.
Yeah? No. Right. Relax. No, there's not a lot that, there's nothing that I could say that I haven't said to you personally in terms of my appreciation and, dare I say it, I will say it because I know it'll embarrass you, my affection for you, man to man. I think you, there's a lot there that just makes you a very responsible guy to lead the organization. I think you've already shown leadership in the responsibilities that you've had, so the illusion between that and what you'll be undertaking at the end of this meeting, it just seems like it will flow very nicely. So I'm really very grateful. So This will be a two-part toast. So for part one, I'd like to have the officers stay where they are and don't touch the champagne, because as the recipients of the toast, as we know, we don't drink to ourselves. Just a matter of protocol if you weren't aware of it. So for the rest of us, if you could be upstanding, and if I could just simply offer a brief word of toast to our new officers, to our officers. And while you're on your feet, if the other four could join us, I'd like to offer just a brief toast to the society itself. May we continue to operate with the same attention to what's important and with the same level of responsibility to fulfilling our charge to the society.
To the society. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. You can be seated to finish your dessert if that remains important. Let me see where we are on the. Oh, we're down to your part, Bob. Okay.
Would like to interrupt this.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen.
It's
Did you want to interrupt?
discussion. Yes, I'd like to say a few things.
Go to it.
I just want to say on behalf of everyone in the room how grateful we are for your service over many years, and your guidance and your sense of humor and so forth. The fact that as a result of your efforts, so many people in Philadelphia have had something to eat. Whether they didn't know it was you providing it, they had it from you. And so it's an honor for all of us to be involved with this society, which has been around for so many years, and an honor for all of us to have served with you and to have your guidance, and I can only hope that we can follow in your footsteps. I think, Ken, you want to add something at this point?
If I could, because I'm bad at this, I did write down what I was going to say, so I don't mess it up too badly. But also not to embarrass my daughter, but she is embarrassed to do it.
I think that ship has sailed.
She did. She was embarrassed as all because I don't know if everyone saw the waitress just dumped a glass of champagne down her arm. So this was.
It's a christening.
It was a christening. We didn't realize it was a baptism.
And to be fair, it's a dark outfit, so it didn't really show.
That's correct. When she goes back to work, I'm sure they'll all say, "What were you drinking at lunch?" You know, and for those of you who don't know John as well as I do want you all to know that John does have a allergic reaction to alcohol, so that even that little sip of champagne you just took will result in red eyes and slight tearing and runny nose. Don't think that this is a show of emotion. It's actually purely the alcohol getting involved, so just take that as it goes. Seriously, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for John today. Under his guidance, the Spring Garden Soup Society has continued to prosper. The society, which over the years has transformed from an organization that reached out to the community first as a soup kitchen, as we were hearing earlier, delivering coal, delivering milk, to what it is now today, to be able to give out money to multiple organizations across the city. It's been great. John's provided direction to allow us to weather stock market downturns and still be able to provide much needed support to others while maintaining fiscal stability. Board members have come and gone, but John has remained steadfast and brought in future leaders to keep the organization viable. There have been changes to the organizations we support, and John has been involved in visiting each to make sure they are fulfilling a need in tangent with our bylaws. So while we're a small organization, we do the most with what we have, and I believe make a big difference to many. Everyone at the table and on Zoom should have a sense of pride in what each of you bring to this organization. I'll also say John's a conundrum, as he shows with his phone. He still uses a flip phone. Not many people do that, but what's amazing is he also is the proprietor of the Society's website, and so that he is light years ahead of what he visually shows and carrying a flip phone. He also likes to tape everything, which is obvious from the cameras in front of us. He has graduated from Super 8 to now using actually the computer to do this.
Never had Super 8, but...
So we all enjoy this today, and I'm sure we'll all want to watch this momentous luncheon again.
And with the selective editing, you'll be amazed at what you end up saying.
So I thought it would be appropriate to use a Winston Churchill quote to close, because I believe John's a Winston Churchill aficionado.
Absolutely.
So it says, never give in, never give in, never, 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 never. In nothing great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never yield to force, never yield to the apparently overwhelmingly might of the enemy. I think this is true of John and his beliefs and his desire for this society to continue. And this quote probably also has meaning to each of us in our personal ways today. I'm honored to be able to present you a gift from the board in recognition of your service as our esteemed president. Just know that there's no such thing as a free lunch, and this gift is also not free. The board has agreed to establish an annual grant in your name to be given to an organization with a specific need or simply in recognition of the service to the community. Your job is to select the first recipient. The John Bowers Grant will live on in the future of this society. Thank you for being a friend and our leader.
Well, that's amazing. I was completely unaware of that, obviously. Well, not obviously. I'm a little disappointed that somehow my digging into all details didn't reveal that, but you were able to do that outside my observation. It's very, it's heartwarming, and I know it's heartfelt, and the idea that it will be attached to something that will be tied to the vision of our society. It makes it all the sweeter. So thank you for the initiative for doing that. Appreciate both of your remarks. Okay, now
Can I just say one thing?
You may, Clara.
So, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to the group. And I don't know, maybe I assume everybody feels the same way, and that is that you make me aspire to be a better person.
Clara, that's very sweet. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, John.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Now, the kindness that you've displayed, Bob, will not lead to an escape of the next item on the agenda, as long as you understood it.
Adjourn.
I have something I'd like to say.
Go ahead, Roy.
I would also like to offer a toast. And so in recognition of the rules and regulations that you've just explained them, everybody except John should stand.
Yes.
I offer my own version of a limerick. There is, not once was, there is a man named Bowers. From controversy, he never cowers. His leadership has been iconic. His humor, always sardonic. He steps aside after 16 years. We all should raise a glass with one word: cheers. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I thought you were going to mention a girl named Sally.
Well, I don't remember anything in particular attending my first election, and I think I took over for you, Doug. Is that how you remember it?
I remember that, yes.
Yes. I don't have any recollection of the meeting where it took place after the vote. I do have to remember after the vote that there was an immediate call for a recount. But in the first of many actions, I think I was able to suppress that. But I thought this time around, it just came to me that offering a modest gift to our incoming president as a sign that I get him as a man. I think I know what's important to him, and I appreciate the level of decorum that he brings to his leadership, whatever the particular responsibilities. And so the first thing that came to mind was perhaps a gavel, because I think that is an often used symbol and tool of an office like this. And I thought about that for a while. Actually, I pictured maybe rosewood with a kind of a classy little brass plaque attached to it. But then I imagined that come next May, if we're sitting around these tables here, that if something started to go awry, or if you were just feeling vexed, I didn't want to be the one responsible for having given you basically a wooden mallet. So as an alternative to that, but still in the spirit of being useful in terms of its ability to have a purpose inside our meetings. A gavel being things to, or something to mark the passage of a motion or bring the meeting back to order, something that's an alternative to that, because it's kind of annoying. I did come up with something, which I'm going to try to, without falling over, come back in here, and that's fine, and get it. My next job was to try to find some way to draw a connection between what I've purchased here, and by the way, as far as I know, no one in this room knows about this in advance, so one person does. I'm not going to out that person because I'm afraid you're already starting to create a list for next year, and we don't want to have anybody on that list. Retribution, that is, in case you didn't get that. So as I thought about how I could tie this in, we have as a society provided or supported those who have provided a lot of food over the 170 years, is it?
Yes.
170 years. And so the picture that came to my mind of 170 years worth of food was the kind of traditional, iconic, I think, image of the cornucopia, that sort of wicker basket with all kinds of fruits and vegetables pouring out of it. And then I thought that I realized that there was a synonym, a phrase that basically is the same thing as the cornucopia. And does anyone know what that phrase is? What's it known as? Bingo. So as a device to make your presiding over these meetings a little more iconic in advance, I went out and got you a Spring Garden Soup Society horn of plenty. Now, so instead of the traditional and somewhat unoriginal, we have. So it'll break through the clutter. And if you find yourself at wit's end and want to be a little more aggressive, as a fine instrument that it is, it can be tuned to any occasion. So as your first real act as president, I'm hoping at the end, which is coming moments away, that after we declare an adjournment to this meeting, that you will mark it with us kind of waiting for it, the end of the adjournment of the meeting with. And even though I didn't have time to get it engraved, it's a personal gift to you, but I am hoping it will be an ongoing instrument of your exercise of office, and someday perhaps will get passed on and will become a relic that no one will be able to remember exactly how it ever came to be, or why that guy wasn't certified who originally presented it. So is there any other business to come before the meeting? Move for adjournment? All in favor?
Aye.
Wait for it. Wait for it. The meeting's adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, Frank.
I can tell he's going to make a great. Yeah.